Happy Sunday. This is Bobby and JJ Radio. We have some special guests. We have Ms. Dina Rodriguez and Gilbert Gonzalez. Gilbert, I know you work with the Rural Business Program at the University of Texas, San Antonio. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what does the Rural Business Program do? What are you guys all about? What are you guys doing all over Texas and elsewhere about?
Well, in our region, what we do primarily is try to strengthen rural communities and across our region, but to grow rural Texas. I mean, that's important.
Sure.
I think we overlook rural Texas in terms we think about the farm to fork idea, but I think we lose sight of what the integration of somebody at a rancher doing something, having an impact, and then providing food on the table. So there's a disconnect there, so we try to really make a connection there, but we try to also transform communities with some of the services we provide.
So what are some of the services that you're providing to help this? Because the rural part of Texas is a lot of Texas. That's a humongous part of Texas.
Yeah, I would say that of the 254 counties, about 180 are considered rural.
Wow.
And so that's a large land area. And I think in our area, we're anywhere from Brownsville up to El Paso. We kind of go back down southeast to Round Rock and then down to Victoria, Texas. And so we go back down to Brownsville. So that's 79 counties. So we have about a third of the state's counties, and the majority of them are rural.
Sure.
Well, we use a variety of services. I think you could say that the key thing you have to keep in mind is we're trying to diversify the rural economy. And historically, it's always been oil and gas or agriculture, and they can coexist and they can work together. Mm-hmm. And I think the key thing for rural right now, whether it's being impacted by oil and gas, is how do you diversify and make them more sustainable? How can they create livelihoods, jobs? People want to live in rural, but they want to have the same features, to so to speak, same quality of life that you have in urban areas.
Give me an example.
Well, I'll give you an example. Like Castroville, Texas, is the town 5 or 6 years ago that I worked directly with. And I think when I first met with the leadership there, they were conservative about growth. They wanted to preserve history, but they still wanted to grow. And I think the idea they had is that, Gil, we want to be able to have small businesses grow here. We want jobs, but we don't want rooftops, which means and translates into we don't want houses. We want people to come from outside the area, work in our area, and we want to still be our small little same town, not change much.
How does that happen?
Well, I think there's always resistance.
How do you accomplish that?
Well, I think there's people.
I feel like it's you're talking about we want to grow, but we want the growth to happen in population. So it's just to keep the structures how they are and just to repurpose them, or how? What's the best strategy?
Well, I think what we're trying to show them initially was a vision for the future.
Sure.
And I think what this small town could look like, preserving their history,
right,
at the same time growing, but maybe growing in a really using a smart growth strategy, as opposed to just saying this uncontrolled growth. And I think that's what they were opposed to. And I think in reality, if you look and you fast forward 5 years later, 6 years later, they are experiencing growth probably that they've never seen before.
Right.
Not only business growth, but residential growth, either from Bexar County going in their direction,
right,
or Medina County growing out.
I can tell as a real estate agent, it's tough to do business out there because there's a handful of brokers and they all do all the business out there. A lot of it,
yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely an area to keep an eye on. I think we've done some other work in Taylor, Texas, Castroville, and we just completed a project in Kingsville, Texas. And the good thing is we're so busy sometimes that we don't really get the chance to brag about our successes.
Sure.
But recently on March 27th, the Corpus Christi Caller-Times had a story about the impact that study is having on Kingsville in terms of a hope in the future and a transformation of that community.
Sure. And tell us about the staff that's working with you there at the UTSA.
Well, it's a combination, and we try to leverage resources, and we're a lean shop. I'd say we're a small program with a big impact,
sure,
as I'd like to think. And so there's probably in San Antonio, there's probably about 3 or 4 of us that are kind of holding the fort down, project managers and myself, and then we've got a project coordinator as well. But we're like one family at the Institute for Economic Development.
Sure.
And I think that so we work together, and we believe in value-based leadership and teamwork, and I think that's important. But then in the field, in the 79 counties, we have about a dozen what we call rural advisors, rural business advisors, and their goal is to really help grow small businesses in those areas, but it's also to help us implement those plans that we develop for those small towns.
Gotcha. And so walk me through a process if I live in a rural area, how they would start working. This is open to either one of you. Like, what's the process of starting to work with your department?
Generally, there's a direct contact to us or referral to somebody in the field, like a rural advisor.
Okay.
And so they come to us and they say, Gil, we're concerned about our future. Kids are leaving, families are leaving, the young adults are leaving. There's no jobs here. Our tax base is declining. How do we stem that brain drain from young people leaving?
Sure.
And I think what we try to do with that is, we have that initial conversation. We develop a scope of work.
Sure.
And based on that, we'll develop either, depending on the need and the intervention that's needed, we'll either do leadership development, which is capacity building for small towns on a municipal level. We'll either do some research to kind of help them diversify their economic base.
Sure.
And then last, we'll do some planning services, what we call vision plans, revitalization plans, and land use plans. And that is with the College of Architecture. So they're cool. It's cool because they're right across the street from us.
Yeah.
And so we can utilize that service and be able to bring that, what I call wholesale price service to a small town.
I'm from El Paso, I guess you can say that. And we talk about the brain drain there all the time. How do you guys feel that you're addressing that issue or helping address that?
Well, I think in a couple of different ways. I'd say, first of all, when we get that inquiry, when we start off with the inquiry from the local leaders, we'll be sitting in a room similar to like this, and there'll be 5 or 6 people sitting around saying, hey, we're concerned about our young people leaving. And in the reality, what you don't see in that room are people my age and older, so people on the audience can know that I'm older than most young people right now. So what happens is I can look at them honestly and tell them, because I feel inclined to do that. I said, the future's not even in the room. So that's one way. We said you need to engage them to build a future for that small town. That's the only way they're going to be able to implement whatever that future is. So that's one way, is engaging either high school kids, college kids, and that are concerned about the future of a small town or want to be part of the strategy, part of the solution. There's a lot of creativity in these young people.
Right.
They just want to be given the opportunity to be able to participate in that process.
Quick takeaway. Talk about the Texas Rural Challenge Conference.
The Texas Rural Challenge is a conference that we started 8 years ago with the governor's office. We were sitting in the conference room at UTSA, and a couple of the governor's staff said, hey, Gil, the governor wants to do something for rural Texas. And we were brainstorming. I think that very moment, about within an hour, we said, let's do a conference. Let's start off with a conference. And the Texas Rural Challenge Conference has been hosted with UTSA and the governor for the past 8 years. And the focus is really just what we've been talking about. How do you grow rural Texas? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we forget that it's such an integral part to our state's economy. If the agriculture and rural economy is lagging behind, then you're not maximizing and optimizing the state economy. And I think that it's important that we find tools, find ways to help diversify the economic base in these small towns. And that's what this conference is about. It's about people coming together from throughout the state, sharing best practices, ideas, success stories. There could be somebody from the Panhandle and somebody from South Texas or El Paso that's doing something that somebody in South Texas said, God, I've been trying to do that for 10 years.
Just didn't know how.
And just didn't know how. But all you did by bringing me to this conference, not only did you bring me to someone that knows how, and can show me how, but it can show me how they funded that project and how they implemented that project.
For more information about any of this, where can they go?
You can go to the Texas Rural Challenge website. You can go to the IED Texas, and you can go to the Rural Business Program. But then you'll land on our website or our page, and you can find out more about the Texas Rural Challenge. And I'll say this one thing you were asking me a minute ago. So how do you bring that youth? How do you address that youth problem? We've got a Texas Student Challenge competition, and it's really a business plan competition, university-wide, statewide. And what we do is we bring students from all over the state to compete at the conference. It's really cool to see. And they come up with ideas that have some kind of rural benefit or application, innovation, and creativity. And so what they do is they compete for cash awards.
Awesome.
And so that's just another way to get them plugged in and be a solution for the future of rural towns.
Thanks, Gilbert. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back.